Hello, and welcome to the MENA Women Rising podcast. You are about to listen to a new episode of this podcast series launched as part of UNIDO's project, promoting women's empowerment for inclusive and sustainable industrial development in the MENA region. This podcast is part of a campaign on women in industry and innovation with the hashtag If She Can Do It, I Can Do It. In this podcast, we invite inspiring women from the MENA region to share their experiences. These are women who have embarked on an entrepreneurial career, who have overcome many challenges, and who have succeeded in making their marks through courage and perseverance. In this podcast, we will be discussing these success stories with a view to getting the best out of them, but above all, to providing tools and answers to some of the questions that women in the region and elsewhere may be asking themselves in order to move forward with their career plans. Our guest today is Salmine Sassi, a social entrepreneur and a business mentor. She creates programs for startups, mentor entrepreneurs, and consult for SMEs. But the most important thing is that Salmine is like an entrepreneurial agitator, particularly with women. She brings people together and makes connection based on her wide network of professionals and change makers. Salmine is today the president of Seedstars Africa, a hub for aspiring female entrepreneurs that's mission is to advance women through entrepreneurship. In this episode, we focus on what it takes for a woman to feel secure and confident about starting her own business. So we talked about leadership, empathy, safe spaces for women entrepreneurs, but also we talked about the power of women in digital change in Africa and MENA region. Through the journey of Salmine Sassi and his sharing experience and advices, today's episode is a real empowerment tool for all women aspiring to launch a business and who are listening to us. Hello, Salmine.
Hi, Rabia.
So, in this episode, we'll be talking about women entrepreneurs, about empowerment, of course, and about social barriers. So I would like to go back a little bit to your background. What led you to become this woman entrepreneur, this consultant, but particularly this campaigner for parity and female founders in Africa, and not in MENA region, not in Tunisia, just Tunisia or...
Yeah, I have to say that it starts off at your family, like the nucleus family. And it starts with my mom. My mom is this strong, amazing, empowering woman. So my mom was raised in Tunisia. Grew up in a poor household. Married my dad, who's in a way distant cousin, but she'd never met him before. And I think this is very normal in Tunisia and Africa in general back in the day. And when she had me and my brother, she was like, yeah, I am going to make something of myself. I'm going to, give them the life she had never had. So yeah, she worked very hard. She started off at the normal textile factory where a lot of women go to work and work on sewing machines, so on and so forth. But my mom was determined, and she was a very, very smart lady, was determined, to progress in her career and create something and give us a better life in a way. And so she ended up going from, a high school dropout, poor household, having two kids in her early 20s, to having her own textile factory together with my brother then, and employing over 50 and remaining empathetic, remaining helpful, supportive to other women, very empathetic towards the people who work with her, their problems, their issues. She's never, even if work is not doing well, my mom is never intentionally hurting any of her employees. And she always tells me this whenever we have a business conversation. She says, I will scream and I will be angry, but I will never do any salary cuts or any of those things that happen in the textile industry. So both, I feel like what I see in my mom was both strength and empathy And, that's how women are, how feminine energy and feminine leadership style is, right? I can be strong and I can be powerful and I can be, all of these powerful stances in life, take all of these powerful stances in life, but still remain empathetic, still remain emotional, connected to people, feel for people and their pain. And I think that's what I was raised on. I mean, I was raised on believing in certain human cases of the world, caring about the rest of the world, caring about everyone else, and not living in life or going through life in a very individualistic way. And so I take all of that from my mother, and I think my journey with entrepreneurship as well as becoming a gender or equality advocate, because now gender and femininity and feminism has changed with the Western thoughts. That's not what I believe in, I have to say. What I believe in is equality between the sexes. What I believe in is equity as well, because we're different. We're not the same. Biologically, we're not the same. We're not capable of doing the same thing. Men are better at some things and women are better at other things. And together we can create incredible things, but definitely together being equal, cerebrally equal, and living in an equitable community, which is not happening right now in Tunisia or in Africa. But talking more about these things, but from our perspective, from our culture, from our history, rather than from information and narrative brought to us from abroad, is very important as well.
I read this idea that you shared. It's getting started is more important than being right. And as women, I think that we need to be sure about the success of something before we do it. So maybe this is the main issue. I don't know. You will explain this your sentence. Getting started is more important than being right, and why women find very difficult to launch an entrepreneurial career. What's your mind about that?
Yeah, of course. First, let's start with the challenge. Women have it harder to start an entrepreneurial career, and this is a general truth, especially in the Middle East and Africa, because women have more responsibility at the family level than men do. In our families, and this is maybe shocking to the rest of the world, but in our families, women or the moms wear the pants. You ask your mom for permission. You go to your mom to give you money. In a lot of cases, in my case, my mom made way more money than my dad, and my mom was the one who is trying to help us and my brother to figure out our lives and go to school and what we're doing at school. My dad was not at all involved. He's a good guy, but he wasn't involved at all. Yeah. And this is general across Africa and across the Middle East, even though in the societal level, it doesn't look that way. And one example I give, and this was like when I was very young, but it changed in my family as well because we all grow. And I remember we went out for dinner with my mom and my dad, and my mom gave my dad the money to pay the bill under the table so he could pay because he's the man. And it changed, right? It changed, amazingly changed. But it is still what it is, right? In the family level, women wear the pants, women have way more responsibilities, and they're doing everything. So in a lot of cases, older women who are older in age cannot take the risk of starting something, or do not even have the time. They work outside, they take care of kids, they cook, they clean, they do everything, and they don't even have the time. And then at a younger age, they don't have enough confidence to do so. A lot of women struggle with imposter syndrome. A lot of women do not have confidence. A lot of women feel small when talking in public, especially when it's a huge group with a lot of, men who are loud, or a lot of loud people who are extroverts and loud and speak up their mind. And sometimes people can be rude as well. So I remember one of the feedback I got when I was trying to work on Seedstars Africa is a lady started crying and she said, I've never done this. She was pitching to us. She said, I've never done this. I'm very proud of myself. And I really feel like this is a safe space. And she started crying. And that hit really hard because there isn't a safe space. And as women, we do sometimes lack the confidence to take the leap. I say it's a matter of starting now because you can be very busy and you can be young and you lack confidence. You haven't found your people, your tribe, your safe space, your whatever, right? But starting now doesn't mean drop everything, divorce your husband, let go of your kids, leave your job, ignore your mom. No, keep your responsibilities, but can you manage to have a Saturday to yourself where you do your own thing? And your own thing can be simply networking on LinkedIn and meeting someone like you, Rawia, for example. I talk to you and then I say, Rawia, I want to do a podcast with you. And that will allow me to create a brand for myself. It allows me to meet people. It allows me be known for what I do and startup. It doesn't have to be anything tech. It can be you selling your skills as a service. I don't know.
That's the idea that you defend. Start something, maybe little something. Start small, but do something, right?
100%. Do anything. Please do anything. I'll give you an example. Like right now, I live in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and I am starting a meetup group, and I'm trying to get to bring women in circles to talk about different things, like similar to round tables to discuss whatever, to do master classes, to do workshops, to share expertise. Women and young people in general. I don't know how it's gonna look like, but it's something I'm starting to do. I bought the meetup, I bought the things that I need, but I still haven't launched any event. I know I will do it. But I've been lazy, I've been busy. But start any. And if you're in Tunisia or Africa, and I know women who are listening right now in Tunisia and Africa, a lot of things they do not come easy or simple. Then the best thing that you could do is talk to people on LinkedIn. Go connect with someone. When you press connect, add note and say, hi, Rawia. I follow you for a while. I really love your background, what you do. It's inspiring. I'd love to have a 20-minute talk with you, and send it. And if you send 100, then maybe 70% will respond. And then you had 70 conversations. And one person is going to make your idea look better, and they're going to give you feedback, and they're going to empower you. They're going to ask you the right question that will help you reflect and think. And maybe one of the 70 people has enough money and want to use it for good. And that good is helping you build your business or helping you, do whatever.
Yeah, it's creating our chances.
Exactly. Yeah.
You, Salmine, you strongly believe in the power of a space for women, power of a safe space for women made by women. That's what you did. We will talk later about Seedstars Africa. But I want to know, what is a safe space for a female entrepreneur? What do you mean?
Yeah, brilliant question. To learn. It's a safe space to learn and to make mistakes and to fall and to say the wrong thing and to, risk it all, but you're still in a safe space with people who will protect you, who will love you, who will respect you, and who will keep it within that safe space. And you see more of these safe spaces that are only for women. There are a lot of them. The problem is that are all based in, European region and the North American region. We don't have enough. And even if I started something that's, was trying to create a safe space, I cannot think I cannot say it succeeded to maintain that for a long period of time because it requires a lot of work. But I do think that we need more of these spaces in Africa in general. And they can be paid spaces. You don't have to create a safe space for women and make it a nonprofit and struggle to maintain it. You see here you have the network of female founders, the network, the female circle, the here we have Elevate. It's a co-working space only for women. There's a coffee shop that's only for women. We need those spaces. We absolutely need, as women, to be around other women, to be around energy that's loving, that's gonna support you, that help you, that's also not gonna judge you, that's not gonna be rude or offensive in a way if you ask a question that's, quote unquote, it's dumb, but no question is actually dumb. Or if you ask the wrong thing, or if you say something that's not really politically correct or can be offensive, then there's someone who's going to help you, navigate through life in a way, a mentor, an older woman or a younger woman that you can learn from, someone from a different background than you. So I think that's what a safe space is. In the case of that I shared with you earlier, it was kind of the MVP of what Seedstars Africa was. And this, I think, was back in 2017 or 18. And it was a workshop about pitching. She pitched and we can see she was emotional. So we asked her, how are you feeling? And then she burst in tears and she said, I've never done something like this. I'm very shy. And this is the first time I feel safe enough to speak. Another feedback we got back in the day was that I do go to conferences, I do go to workshops and events, but I feel very intimidated with everyone there, so I cannot raise my hand and speak. And it's very scary to speak in public or raise your hand or go to a networking event and say, hi, my name is Salmine, how are you?
Yeah,
it's really not easy. So if you create more of these spaces, then you have women who are more confident, who support each other. And in women supporting each other, there's great power. It's superpower, honestly.
Yeah. Is it about judgments?
Of course.
Is men are judgmental?
No, I think that's really, no, I cannot say men are judgmental. I can say people are judgmental. Our community, our Tunisian, African, Middle Eastern community is judgmental. But no one believes in the conference, and there are a lot of men and women, older men and women wearing suits, all in black and white, and you raise your hand to speak and you say something that's not really in context. No, believe me, no one is going to judge you. No one cares. But that's what you tell yourself, because I'm in this community that's judgmental. So even if I'm at a conference, I'm at an event, everyone is going to judge me or think less of me or, I don't know, laugh at me or bully me. But it's really not the case. Entrepreneurial individuals, leaders, people who care, men or women are the same. They think the same way. They want to help and they want to support and they want to put you up.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of men in my life who made my life much, much better when I was starting Seedstars Africa. And to be fair, when I was starting Seedstars Africa specifically, I had more help from older men than older women. So it's not a men versus women thing. It's just that women need their space. A space for them, and men have space for them. You have coffee shops that are only for men. You have men night. We don't have the same thing. And also we weren't raised the same way. As a woman, you are raised to stay home, to be respectful, to not raise your voice. We rarely play outside. I played outside, but because, I had my mom, but my mom is not every mom, I have to say. She played outside as well. That's why she let me. But not a lot of women did. So you didn't have the same upbringing as your brother in a lot of cases. You weren't, fighting when you were young and learning how to build your confidence and learning how to love yourself. And, you weren't doing that when you were young. You were just trying be good, and if you do one thing that's wrong, then someone is going to yell at you or someone is going to spank you. But your brother or my brother was not treated the same way, because he's the man, he's the guy, right?
Things are changing and not very fast, but they are changing. And today we are proudly talking about digital change and about what's the role of women in this digital change, especially in Africa. And I love this sentence of you when you said women can be the driver of the digital change in Africa. And I ask myself how this can be. Okay, it's a very nice sentence, and we see women fighting for this. But what does it require to be a real fact? We need it to be a real fact.
I love the question. I have to say something that things are changing, and they're really positive trends. But statistically, things are not doing. We're not doing much better in Africa and the Middle East when it comes to women economic development and inclusivity and opportunity, like in investment, for example.
Yeah.
There's a huge a disparity there. What's happening is that we are content consumers rather than content creators, and the content we consume is mostly Western content, and that's a whole different case of community, society, feminism, and women empowerment. So our brain are wired to believe certain things that are really not. So I wish we can create content, speak about our narrative, the African narrative, our community, why we care about safe spaces for women, why we care about having more women in leadership positions, including women in the economy, so on and so forth. Because you would think it's changing, but you still have the season for female genital mutilation and across Africa. You still have, if you have 3 kids, one of them is a girl, you can only take 2 of them to school. You will take the boys to school across Africa. You still have, push the boy to finish education and let the girl go and, clean houses to be able to support the family. Across Africa and in Tunisia, you go to, certain cities in Tunisia, and you still have, you're a woman, you cannot speak like that, or don't speak. And this is an experience that when I was in Tunisia just a month ago, a friend of mine shared this with me. She was working on a project in Jandouba, I think, in Tunisia. And she said to me, she was in a workshop delivering to potential trainers that were men and women. And the mentor to the girl, he was like, "You're a woman, you don't speak, let me finish," or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it still exists. So it's really, when we say in Tunisia, I love the expression, which is essentially we're covering the truth because we are consuming content that it's not originated from our countries, and because most of us who are on these platforms are from the capital of Tunisia or coastal cities and really out of touch with reality, I have to say, even myself. And the reality is the disparity between the genders is still extreme. Why I say the digital thing is because there's a digital revolution. It's more than a digital revolution. The world is changing. We're talking deep tech, Gen AI, so on and so forth. We're trying to go, space entrepreneurship is expanding, and there's a lot of investment going there. And the world is moving extremely fast with all of the technologies that are happening across the world. And then for us in our African continent, we're still behind, even though we're doing great in terms of entrepreneurship, we're still very much behind. And guess who's even more behind? It's women. Mm. And I remember talking to another person who said, in this digital revolution, we need to be careful to not be left behind as a continent of Africa. And in order for us to not be left behind, we need to have more women leading the way or leading the wave. Because generally, there's a quote by Melinda Gates that says, invest in the people who invest in everybody else, or women are the people who invest in everybody else, something like that. So I think with women being in leadership of this digital revolution, there's a lot of power in that, because they will bring us these female leaders, these powerful, female figures will lead all of us forward, because they will care about the community and their countries and their, local communities and other women, and they will bring us forward with them. It's not a self thing. It's not, I want to be the everything. There's less egocentricity and there's more communal value about women leaders, especially younger women leaders. I learn from younger women leaders more than I learn from older women leaders, if I'm being honest. And they inspire me like every day.
And it's a nice thing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And I take this idea. I love the first idea of creating content that is more us, that talk about our history, about our identity, culture, to make the change. Yes, it's a nice idea. We have to talk about Seedstars Africa, because you made a lot through this hub, and you designed this transformational learning for over 1,200 female agents of change. My question is why you choose the Middle East and Africa, and not the MENA region?
Okay, you asked me a very loaded question. So first of all, I have to say that Seedstars Africa now is being led by an amazing team. I am the co-founder, but I am not on the operations, and it's been a while. So I like to say thank you to them, and that I'm very grateful for everything that they do. And maybe I can name a few: Riham, Kulthum, Talima, Dursaf, Umayma. So I hope I named at least a few of them. But they are incredible women who are leading Seedstars Africa. They're leading the development of a platform for women founders across the continent. Seedstars Africa is for Africa, but we include the Middle East. So now we're trying to make it more of Seedstars rather than Seedstars Africa. It started Africa only because personally I am a Pan-Africanist in a way, and I believe that we need as a continent to work better together. I've been to a few countries in Africa, and I can say even if we are different in a lot of things, where the values are the exact same. So the values of a Nigerian, of a Kenyan, of a South African, and of an Egyptian are the exact same. And in working together, in trading, in creating better political relationships between African countries, there's a lot of power in that. Better trade, better business opportunities. There's a lot of power because it is a huge continent with really interesting purchasing power, with a huge number of people. And there's a lot of power of that. Of course, then there are the foreign politics and all of that might play a role, but at least what we can do as entrepreneurs is try to bridge the gap between African countries. Then there's no reason, then that's the most important reason why Seedstars Africa, but then after a while we included if any Middle Eastern country would be interested in Seedstars, they can join. We don't discriminate against anyone, but I think, yeah, that's it. So Seedstars Africa started as a hub for female founders to build their capacity in entrepreneurship, in leadership, so on and so forth. Right now, I cannot say that Seedstars Africa is a hub. Seedstars Africa is more of a social enterprise that advances women through building their capacities in entrepreneurship specific. And building capacity can be, in the case of Seedstars, can be through specific programs that target career switchers, that target students, and that targets potential female founders. And they can learn different things from business to, monetizing their skills to business modeling, so on and so forth. And then the other aspect is specifically for female founders who actually have a business with a product on the market. So then how can we help them grow? How can we help them get investment if needed, or bootstrap, or better manage their business, or, strategically target a specific segment, or so in a way help them grow essentially in one way or another. And this is what the program that's and we're finishing it, actually. We're wrapping it up in September. It's called Female Founders. That's what it's about, in collaboration and partnership with GIZ in Tunisia.
Yeah.
And then we're building SheStarts.tech, which is a platform that will host together ecosystem enablers that are interested in working with female founders from across the continent. So that could be, mentors, experts, talents, investors, anyone who's interested. And hopefully, slowly, we can put more information and create more content that's specific to the African region and the Middle Eastern region.
It's very interesting, maybe for our listeners, so they can join the network of SheStarts. SheStarts, right? Not only Africa. SheStarts.
I mean, right now it's still SheStarts Africa, but hopefully it will be SheStarts soon.
Okay. Salmine, last question. We have like 1 minute, 30 seconds to give just one piece of advice to a woman wanting to start her own business. If there's just one advice, what would it be?
Can I say an advice in 3 layers? It's like a pyramid.
Okay.
Start at the top with a vision. Where do you see yourself in 5-10 years? Then reverse engineer. So that's the vision. You want to win a Nobel Peace Prize. Then work your way back. Every year back, where do you need to be in order to get to that vision? And that will help you to determine what to do now to get there. And what to do now needs to be the simplest thing: networking, talking to people, writing your goals, being consistent, building habits of growth, and, at some point putting yourself first and prioritizing your goals is very important as well. And if you have to wake up at 5 to do that, then be it. And if you have to, send your kids to your mom's house on Saturday, then be it. But give it time. 2-3 hours a week is enough for you to start building, working to achieve that vision. And that's enough motivation for you to build your thing. But you just need to talk about it, to network, to meet people, to focus on it in a way. And I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, very. Thank you, Salmine Sassi. Thank you for all these advices, all these nice stories. I was very glad to have you in this episode of MENA Women Rising. Thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me so much, Ralia. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Our episode ends here. We look forward to your reactions, opinion, or comments on the social network dedicated to the Promoting Women Empowerment in the MENA region project. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter through the UNIDO PW in MENA pages. We look forward to seeing you soon in a new episode of the MENA Women Rising podcast, which you can listen to on all podcast platforms.